Let's do it.
Hey, hi. This is Pelvis with a new edition of Screw the News. You know, we changed the format up a little bit. We don't have a hour-long show anymore. We're doing these about anywhere from 10 to 20-minute segments. And tonight, we're going to spotlight one of mine. All right? I'm going to tell you a little story about how this whole thing came about. And it's combined with JCB Music down in San Diego. And most of you know I got this bromance going with Craig Blaine down there. And we're going to show you how we put things together on this. But first, I want to tell you a little story. But first, I want to tell you this, all right? The Stones are going to go on tour again this year. Now, here they are, all right? Here's what these boys look like going on tour. Now, you may say, that's just a bunch of old men, but I'm telling you what's going to happen. And it happens at every one of their concerts from day one to present day. The fans are still, to this day, throwing joints and pills up on the stage. But nowadays it's hip joints, knee joints, and Viagra. You know, it's still the thought that counts. God love them. I'm still rocking and rolling, man. I think Mick's just a few days older than me, and I'm 78. So keep it going, my man. Keep it going. Anyway, tonight's story pertains to one of the Rolling Stones, Ronnie Wood. In 1984, I was with a friend of mine. We went out to lunch, what I call my 9-month lunch, and I've been threatening to do a whole series about my 9-month lunch, how I could write a lifetime book on those 9 months, what happened in those 9 months. But this guy, he went to school with Ronnie, as a matter of fact. And so he knew Ronnie very well. As a matter of fact, on Ronnie's single album, when he came out with his solo album, Give Me Some Neck, there was a song on there, oh God, I'm not sure the title of it, is just Far Too Pretty to Die, You Ought to Be Buried Alive. Well, that's about my friend's wife, a girl by the name of Tara, and she was a terror. Tara was a terror, boy. She just, she made that man's life a misery. Of course, he wasn't the best man to be around. You know, he was always out with other women and all that, and she knew that. And on that song there, You're Far Too Pretty to Die, You Ought to Be Buried Alive. I think it's in the bridge. It says, you took my guitars away. Now I got nothing to play except for damage and debris. I guess broken hearts are free. You're far too pretty to die. You ought to be buried alive. Well, James wrote that verse, okay, for that song. And he was in the studio when Ronnie was doing that. So they were pretty good buddies. But on the other hand, I had another friend, a guy by the name of Mark, who eventually became Ronnie Wood's manager for his artwork, and I've got some of it here. All right, I've got photos of it, and a guy by the name of Nick Cowan took these photos. And let me see. The first time I ran into Ronnie, the first time I was introduced to him, was out in the ranch in Arizona when they did a photo shoot out there for Give Me Some Neck, as a matter of fact. And on that album cover, he's sitting on the camel. Well, that damn camel's out there on that ranch in Arizona. And so James and I are on our 9-month lunch. And we're at the Beverly Hills Hotel. We're in the bar at Beverly Hills Hotel. And we're with Harry Nilsson, having a drink with Harry Nilsson. And if you don't know who Harry Nilsson is, look him up. He's another maniac, okay? He, Rhinestone Cowboy wrote theme song to that. One is The Loneliest Number. Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues. I mean, him and John Lennon were like this. Well, no, that's John and that May, that Asian girl he went off with. And here's Harry over here watching him and John. Yeah, that's how it worked out. So that's not John and him. That's John. Okay. And get on with the story. So we're in there having a drink, and Ronnie walks in just out of nowhere. He just walked through the bar. And James goes, Ronnie, you know, hey, well, you know how those English do. They go, hey, what bloody hell and all this that they talk. And so we ended up going up to Ronnie's house. And that's where I got these photos up there. These were, like I say, these were all taken by Nick Allen and Ronnie. Ronnie saw that I really liked them. He just gave them to me. I'm a hell of a nice guy. And so getting into the story here, how this song came about that we're going to debut tonight. It's a song called The Pint Rye. And let me see, what would it be? That was in '84. And then sometime in the 90s, I would say, God, about maybe 10 years later, 94, 95, somewhere in there, I was in LA, and Mark, Ronnie's manager for his artwork, asked me to take him to the LA airport, drop him off. He's going back to New York, take care of some business. So I gave him a ride to the airport, and that's the last time I seen that man. He got busted for some major tonnage, let's put it that way. And they busted him up in Canada, although the bus was for here in the United States. But you know, that happened then. He still might be in prison. I don't know. But that's the last time I saw him. But he called me through an attorney. He made a call to the attorney, and the attorney did a three-way call to me. And he asked me if I would go to this house out in Malibu and clean it out. And I said, well, look, Mark, I ain't jumping in the same pool you're in, man. You're drowning. And he goes, no. He says, just some personal stuff out there. Will you take care of it for me? So I went out there and I packed up all kinds of stuff. And I mean, I did a whole thing on this before on the show. But I came out of there with all kinds of stuff, all Harkey bass speakers and mixing boards and I can't think of the name of it. A bunch of equipment anyhow. And I came out a bunch of band boxes. And I just packed up all the band boxes in my truck and took off. I had no idea what was in those. And I got back to my place and started looking through it. And in those band boxes were 30 some odd reel-to-reel tapes. All right. And I had no way of knowing what was on the tapes or anything like that. And some of them were marked. If I can find, I've got some photos of the covers on them. If I can find them, I'll put them up here. I'll look through my files and see if I can show them to you. But one interesting one was that one of them had on there Jimi Hendrix, and it had a date on there. And that date sounds familiar. And it so happened, the date was the day before Jimi Hendrix died. Okay, and apparently he did this. I want to say that I can't think of the name of it. This is me, rifling my files right now, trying to think of things here. But he did a performance at a famous club there. I want to say Ben Brown, but I know that's not right. But it was down in this basement, underground thing, and so I rounded up a reel-to-reel machine just to hear what was on that, and I went through that whole tape. I mean, the tape that big around. I listened to that whole thing, and there's a minute 28 seconds, I think, on that thing. Now I have that on CD. I don't know if I should play that because I know it's under copyright. But it's Jimi Hendrix, and he's talking about Bob Dylan's grandmother. I don't know what the hell thing was about Bob Dylan's grandmother, but he's talking about Bob Dylan's grandmother, and then all of a sudden he just goes into wild thing. And like I say, it's a minute 28 seconds is all that's on there. So I had all these tapes, and I had these tapes from the mid-90s. Well, hell, I moved to Mexico in '07. And I left all these, so I had them from 95 to '07. I left them with Craig Blaine in San Diego in '07. And then it wasn't until 13 that I finally got him back to run. I tried everything, man. I tried every number I had on him. And I guess because of what happened with Mark and all that, and this Nick Cowan got in some problems too, they didn't want to have anything to do with me, that, or anything else. I mentioned one of those names, and I was taboo, so I couldn't get that stuff back to him. I'm trying to make this story short, but this is all what happened on this thing. So in 2013, I'm living here in Las Vegas, and the Stones are coming to Las Vegas. So I called his attorney in London, and I said, look, I have tapes that belong to Ronnie. I want to get them back to him. I live in Vegas. He's coming to Vegas. Let's take care of some business here. And I mean, that man, they were so suspicious of everything. And I went, look, just let me get these tapes back to this man, okay? Just let me do this. And so I hooked up with him here at the Four Seasons Hotel in 2013, gave him the tapes back. And he sent me this autographed copy and paid me for the trouble and all that. So, you know, he was generous about it. So, but what we did do is we transferred those tapes onto a CD. And I still have those CDs. So what we did on there was a bunch of Ronnie noodling around, a bunch of riffs, and that's what this song is. Now I'm going to let Craig Blaine take over from here and explain to you about this song, Pint of Rye. And then after that, after he comes back, I'll talk to you some more, and we'll see what happened with that riff, okay? So here we go. You take it over, Craig Blaine, my romance bromance.
Hey, my man, Pelvis, how you doing? Just walking around the building here, had to put my mask on. I've got that one and done, but I still like to wear the mask, right? Pelvis, good to see you, brother. And what are we hearing in the background? This is Craig at JCB Music, by the way. Shout out to everybody out there watching Screw the News. This is Ronnie Wood, our continuation of Ronnie and the Boys. We've done 2 segments. This is the 3rd. This is the riff we took off of some of those tapes that we sent back to Ronnie from the 70s on his home recording, just messing around. I took this, looped it, put some drums to it, get a bass in there, right? Little shaker, little tambourine, right? It's coming together. Put some acoustic guitars in. Well, where's my main man, Bruce Dunn? There we go. This is Pint of Rye. Some brass. Bring that up a little bit. And featuring a lead guitarist here. Slide guitar. So very different from, we deconstruct this again. Take out the electrics, take out the brass, take out the shaker, bass, drums, acoustic guitar. With a young girl. Bruce out. And there's Ronnie. We're left with Ronnie's loop. So that's how Pint of Rye came to be. So that's Pelvis's, you've seen that video, made a great video for it. So we'll do another one next week. All right, that's it for me at JCB Music. I'll see you guys. Have a great week. Back to you, Pelvis.
All right, so that's the story of how Greg took that, put it on the board, and looped it, and drooped it, and added guitars, drums, and all that stuff. And then I found the kid here in Las Vegas, and I can't think of his name, But I'll put it here. I know how I know where he is on Facebook. I'll get the name and I'll put it down here because he deserves credit for he did a hell of a job for us on that song. And now I'm going to play the outcome. I did a video. I put a video together for the song. And by the way, I mentioned and I wrote the lyrics and I sing on this thing. And I did have a '69 Eldorado. And I did ride around with my hand way up on the thigh. So there's a lot of truth in this song. And I hope you enjoy it. And let me know in the comments, okay? And I'll talk to you a little bit more after the video. So here we go. Pint Rye.
I'm now going to switch over to 7.5.
I used to dress and look real fly. Broke some hearts, made a lot of young girls cry. When I was a young man, I had a lot of style. Riding around with a young girl, I used to drive her wild. In my '69 Eldorado, sometimes I get a little high. Drive out to the crossroads and find myself a pint of rye. I drink a little whiskey on a hot summer night. Ride around with a young girl, my hand way high on her thigh. In my '69 Eldorado, a little river and a pint of rye. '69 Eldorado, a little river and a pint of rye. I drink a little whiskey, sometimes I smoke a little dope. Gives me vision and the bottle gives me hope. I dream about the old days when I was so blind. Riding around with a young girl, I used to drive her wild. In my '69 Eldorado, a little river and a pint of rye. Riding around with a young girl, my hand way high up on her thigh. In my '69 Eldorado, a little river and a pint of rye. In those days gone by, I did smoke a little reefer, and brother, I did get a little high. All right, so now you heard the finished product. I think it's a hell of a song myself and a pretty good video there. Keep your attention, and then, man, that was a great car. That was you know what? I'm gonna make you sick to your stomach. I bought that car in 1972, and I paid $2,200 for that car. Bought it from the original owner, some old man that lived in Del Mar, California. And I paid $2,200 for that car. And I got it. It was just beautiful. Yeah. And then I sold it to some guy. I can't think of his name right now, but he was an actor. He was in a movie called Everything You Want to Know About Sex and We're Afraid to Ask. I sold that car to him. And that's what happened with that guy. But anyhow, listen, what we did tonight, we can do for you, okay? And this is where the show is going. This is what we're going to do. Rather than just play snippets of videos and things like that, we play the full video. We do a 15, 20-minute show. That way we can spotlight you. If you want to be on this show, send me an email to right here, screwthenews2020@gmail.com. All right, and you saw what Craig did with that song. And if you're in need of a producer, Craig Blaine, jcbmusic.com, right here. Boom, boom. And then all this will be down below too. Get a hold of him. I have been in his studio. Honest to God, I haven't been in that studio since I think the last time I was there, and it was 2011. And we're still making music together, okay? And this day and age, you don't have to be in the studio. With the phones and computers and all that stuff, you can lay down your track, send him the WAV files. He can do his abracadabra, sim boom ba, and send it back to you, a finished product, okay? So this is Pelvis saying, peace, go get your shot, take care of one another, love one another, and let's get out of this mess we're in so we can get back to live concerts, okay? Take care, bye.